So I'm going to take this opportunity at the beginning of the video to have a big get well soon to Millie McKenzie. Millie McKenzie, who is suffering with an illness right now, and you know, she has been a big part of me getting into North Wrestling. She's had my favourite match in North Wrestling history that I have seen, featuring her and Emerson James. So I do want to put out there very, very big get well soon, because she's been a big part of this North Wrestling journey for me, and yeah, she's one of my favourites in Brit Wrest right now, so be sure to send some love to Millie McKenzie. Let's dive into this review, guys. Hello and welcome to FTTR, I am Hugh McQuaid, and today we are talking about North Wrestling NCL.57, it's all caps. Okay, it's been a while since I've talked about North Wrestling. It feels like it's been a long time since Thunderstruck, and yeah, it's taken me a while to get around to this one because it's only recently dropped on Triller, but we are here, all caps. And now the gimmick of the all caps show, it's similar to Unboxing in progress in that they've announced competitors but they haven't announced any matches, so the matchups were made on the night, and this is something that I thought I was going to have spoiled for me, but I've somehow managed to, whilst I've been away, avoid pretty much all spoilers for NCL.57. I've seen some of the competitors that were announced, but the matches themselves and the outcomes I've managed to avoid for the most part. Apart from one match, which was the Henry Faust Liam Slater match, I had managed to avoid all the outcomes, and that made this show amazing. This was a banging show that had some right cracker of matches on there. It had some really interesting story progression as well for the North Wrestling characters, coming off the big blow off that was Thunderstruck and G Munny winning the North Wrestling title. So there's a lot of stuff to dive into here, but before we do, please subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts down below as we dive into this. Starting with my overall thoughts, like I said, I thought this was cracking. I thought this was a really fun show. 3 hours flew by. And yeah, they put on really banger shows to North Wrestling, and they have those matches that, you know, when they're announced, when you see them, you're like, that's going to be a banger, and they always deliver. There were two matches on here in particular that I absolutely loved. They were so unbelievably great, and we'll talk about those in the full review, which is going to start right now. My full play-by-play review as we dive into every match, every angle, everything that happened on the show, starting with Tom Campbell introducing everyone and saying it's going to be carnage, it's going to be anarchy, because we have no idea what is going to happen, who is going to walk through that curtain at any point, what type of match it's going to be, and that made it feel really, really fresh. It's a really good show to do after your big show because it adds that flavour, it adds that spice to sort of reignite the fuse, if you will. And this started out with Natalie Sykes coming down. Natalie Sykes is then joined by Goth Boy Joe Wade, and they talk about how they were screwed at Thunderstruck. You know, HMD screwed them, Alexis Falcon screwed them, and Hardman Dan himself then comes down and he cuts a promo as well, talking about how he thinks they're losers, he thinks they're shit. And then all of a sudden, a decrepit old woman looking awfully like the witch. Is there a witch in Snow White? The old lady from Snow White enters the ring, offers an apple to Natalie Sykes, and clocks her in the face with a basket of apples. And who would it be but it's Alexis Falcon? And that sets up our opening contest, which is a mixed tag team match as Natalie Sykes and Joe Wade took on Alexis Falcon and Hardman Dan. This was a really fun match. You know, I really, really like Joe Wade. I think he's awesome, and him in there with Natalie Sykes, they had some really good chemistry, and they were going up against these two baddies who were working very well together. It was ultimately an assist from Alexis Falcon, which gave them the advantage pretty early on, and then Hardman Dan starts beating up Joe Wade in the middle of the ring, building to Natalie Sykes getting in, her going straight after Alexis Falcon because they've got that sort of that boiling rivalry which is doing really well. Yeah, this was really entertaining and really fast-paced at the beginning. You got a really nice bit where Alexis Falcon tries to offer an apple again to Natalie Sykes, and Natalie Sykes pulls a Carlito and spits it in the face of people who don't want to be cool. That was really cool. And yeah, you got some cool offense in there from Natalie Sykes. She did like a cutter on Hardman Dan and then a foot stomp from Joe Wade. But unfortunately was a little bit of miscommunication, as Joe Wade looks like he's going to run and hit HMD, but he clocks Natalie Sykes with a knee. He gets thrown out of the ring, and then Alexis Falcon manages to pin Natalie Sykes and pick up the 1-2-3 for her team. Yeah, I thought this was great. I think it's a really cool story to tell, sort of between Joe Wade and Natalie Sykes, the miscommunication there, and building off that keg stacker match as well. I think makes all the sense in the world. I was a big fan of this. I'm excited to see, particularly with what was set up later with Will Kroos and Rampage Brown. I'm excited to see sort of the dynamic that goes on there between Joe Wade and Hardman Dan, and the eventual blow-off match that we'll get between Alexis Falcon and Natalie Sykes. All really good stuff in this opening match. Then we got a nice promo from Alexis Falcon, sort of talking about how she's seen favouritism towards Natalie Sykes further in that feud. And then we got Nathan Black taking on Kemper. Look at the goddamn size of him. So this was interesting, actually. We're going to talk about this in a little bit. Well, not in a little bit, I'm going to talk about it now. This was interesting because I'd seen this match. Not the North match. They had the opening match of Hostile at Catch Pro Wrestling. And I wasn't aware that this match was happening. So when it happened, I was like, oh, this is cool. This is going to be fun. And it was just as fun as the Catch Wrestling match. Because Nathan Black is awesome. Kemper is a badass. And the way they just work together was really good. It started out really cool as well with Kemper throwing, yellow shirts through the curtain, answering the challenge, and Nathan Black just trying to avoid Kemper because Kemper is a very, very hard man. And yeah, it was a bit of Kemper brutalising Nathan Black. Nathan Black, he hits a really nice delayed suplex on Kemper, manages to power him up like that. But ultimately, it was a Miles Kamen interference here. Miles Kamen distracted the referee, building off the sort of tension that they'd had and the feud that they'd had. They haven't had the blow-off yet, Kemper and Miles Kamen, but sort of furthering that because he distracted the ref, which gave Nathan Black the advantage. Low blow to Kemper and rolls up Kemper for the 1-2-3. Nathan Black then quickly leaves the ring, and as Kemper is sort of getting up, Miles Kamen gets in the ring, he hits the chair on the back of Kemper, he hits another chair, and he just starts wailing on him with chair shots. I thought it was a really effective angle to set up, some of the stuff that's going to come later as well. I think it's going to be a really interesting world title scene if we now have Miles Kamen and Kemper in there. I was a big fan of this, and I'm a big fan of whatever Nathan Black's going to do. I am completely here for a Gene Munny Nathan Black feud. To me, that would be just insanely funny, insanely hilarious. I would love to see that so much. I was a big fan of this match. It wasn't the longest match, but it was fun. Next up, we got Rampage Brown and Will Kroos taking on Vanity, Judas Gray, and Ronan King. Now, this match only went about 10 minutes, but they got a lot of cool stuff in here. There was some awesome bits in this match. There's one bit that we will talk about in just a little moment that everyone's talking about, but there were some other bits in here as well, like the great offense that Judas Gray was doing like a big slingshot code breaker. That was awesome. Then going up for a swanton. It was all really cool stuff, and they worked really well together. It was fast-paced. It told a great story, trying to isolate the big men and sort of taking out the legs of Rampage Brown, chop blocking him when he was going to do a suplex. It all worked really well of the smaller guys trying to take advantage of the big guys, but when the big guys were on top, the big guys were on top, and they were absolutely dominating them. Then let's talk about the big moment of the match. This is the one that sort of everyone's talking about, and that is Will Kroos pouncing Judas Gray over the top rope onto Ronan King. It is spectacular. One of the coolest spots, of the year. It was really insane. It was really cool. It got a massive holy shit chant. And then you had Will Kroos and Rampage Brown rolling Judas Gray, hitting with a big Doomsday device for the 1-2-3, picking up a decisive win. This was very, very good. I really liked that it's established Will Kroos and Rampage Brown still, because I'm happy that they're maintaining their position in the tag team scene. I don't want to see them go their separate ways, and I think there's a rematch probably in there somewhere with Trent and Clint, so keeping them strong. But Vanity lost nothing here. Vanity looked really good. Like I said, they had some awesome bits of offense in here and some good moments where they were hanging with the bigger guys. So yeah, I was a really big fan of this. This was an awesome tag team match. Then we got a really heartfelt retirement segment for Jumping John Myers, who's been a referee for North Wrestling, and they had an amazing piece
of video and an insane video package. He did a great speech. The owner, Anthony Bowers, was there. Tom Campbell was in the ring. Benji came out. Rory Coyle came out as well. It was a really well done celebration. It just goes to show that, referees, they play a very important aspect in wrestling. They're a very important piece of this puzzle, and it was highlighted in the video package and some of the words that were said. It was very, very heartfelt, ending a kiss between Rory Coyle and Myers. So yeah, this was really cool. You don't need to know the context. Like, I'm not a big North wrestling historian. I've got into it this year, but I don't need to know the context. Know that this was an incredibly sweet and awesome goodbye to someone who's been a key part of North wrestling. And it told me that. It told me all that through one segment. So best of luck in your future. Yeah, in your future, John Myers. That's awesome. Then we got a Nathan Black promo where he's sitting on what looks like a forklift, eating pretzel sticks, living his best life. And then Zio Knox comes down to the ring and he starts cutting a promo saying that he's taking Tom Campbell's job. He's going to be on commentary with Vader Scott tonight. Commentary all around was awesome this night as well. I want to give the best play-by-play call to Tom Campbell, who said something along the lines of calling Will Kroos a fridge freezer with an engine. Brilliant. That was a brilliant call, really well done. And yeah, Zio Knox is on commentary for this match, and the match we got was Amir Jordan versus Nathan Kroos. Nathan Kroos, I have not seen wrestle since Strong Style. Was it 2 years ago? It must have been 2 years ago. The one where he was in the finals because he faced Kid Lycos. So I think it's either 2 or 3 years ago. That was the last Nathan Kroos match I watched. He's on his way to work with AEW, which was put over at the end really well by Amir Jordan. And yeah, they went out and had a banging match. I really like the story of this match because they told the story of Nathan Kroos working over the back of Amir Jordan. He was hitting it on the apron. He was hitting big, shoulder blocks to the back as well. He was really targeting that back of Amir Jordan, and Amir Jordan would often get fiery comers that would be shut down by the back. The back was the issue in this match, and I liked that. It was a simple story, but it was effective. You had this awesome sequence in the middle where they were just trading pinfalls back and forth, and then it looks like Amir Jordan's going to get some offense. It looks like he's going for a Hurricane Rana, and then Nathan Kroos just drops him with a pile driver. That was awesome, a really sick spot there. Then we had sort of the crucial moment of the match, and that is when Nathan Kroos goes to expose the turnbuckle. He rips off the turnbuckle pad and looks like he's going to use it, but he's a bit reluctant at first to use it on Amir Jordan. That gives Amir Jordan a little bit of offense. He hits the roll-in code breaker, which always looks good, goes for a swanton, and Kroos gets the knees up. Really good back and forth there, and he does end up getting his head dropped into the turnbuckle, but Amir Jordan manages to kick out after that. I thought that was really well done, a really nice kick out. And then Nathan Kroos gets his comeuppance because he's pushed body first, chest first into the turnbuckle, and that gives Amir Jordan the opportunity to hit the rolling cutter, hit the swanton for the 1, 2, 3, picking up a decisive win over Nathan Kroos. And yeah, like I said earlier, he does a really good promo talking about Nathan Kroos coming back to North and some of the stuff that he's going to be doing in AEW. Then, after he's put over Nathan Kroos and it's been really nice, who should ruin the fun? But of course, you forgot about him. But he was there on commentary, Zio Knox. Zio Knox comes down and he starts wailing on Amir Jordan. He just starts wailing on him with the mallet, cuts a promo about how he should be a pillar of North wrestling. I thought this was really effective. It set up a match for September. Zio Knox challenging for a match in September, so that's coming up in like 2 days, 5 days, something like that. It's very, very close when they're doing that show. And yeah, I'm here for that. I think that's an awesome match to do. Amir Jordan versus Zio Knox. I think they're going to have a great dynamic. I was a big fan of this match, a big fan of the angle after. Awesome to see Nathan Kroos. Best of luck to Nathan Kroos in AEW as well. Awesome. Big fan of this. Then we got a backstage segment with Will Kroos and Rampage Brown as it looks like they're celebrating. You've got Hardman Dan. He's also celebrating as well, and he sort of kind of gets in the face, and they sort of say the winner's going to face each other, and that seemingly sets up a match because Joe Wade runs in and looks like he's going to attack Hardman Dan, but Hardman Dan very quickly says he's my partner. So it looks like we're going to get an unlikely alliance between Joe Wade and Hardman Dan against Will Kroos and Rampage Brown. I think that's a very fun way to go, a fun direction to do this. I'm excited to see that match. I think that'll be really fun. Next up, we got Liam Slater coming out, and he is facing Henry Faust. But this match didn't go very long because they're squaring up, they're grappling, but you can tell Liam Slater's not really feeling it. And he backs Henry Faust into the corner. The ref counts to 5. Disqualification. And Liam Slater just goes straight to the back. I don't know what to make of this. I don't know where we're going with this Liam Slater, but he is one of the most fascinating things in North right now. I think it's a very interesting story to tell now that Leon Slater has lost the title. Where he's going to go. He was wearing Leon Slater merch. Are we going to get more Leon Slater in North? I'm not too sure. But yeah, I'm very intrigued to see where this goes. And that led into a video package from Henry Faust later on where Henry Faust says he wants to fight. He wants to fight right now because that wasn't what he wanted on this show. And that built fantastically to an Ultra Violence Championship match that we'll talk about later. Then we got probably my favourite match of the show, an absolute banger of a tag team match as Clint Margera and Trent Seven defended the North Wrestling Tag Team titles against the big beefy bitches Rhio and Emerson Jane. This match was awesome. This match was really good, and it told a really cool story as well in that, Trent Seven was in the majority of this match. He was sort of the one who was getting exhausted and getting tired, and towards the end of the match that sort of played into it because you had Clint getting in there and barking orders at Trent Seven and Trent Seven struggling to get to his feet. I thought that was a really interesting way to go in that one of them was in there for longer, whereas it was a bit more even between the Rhio and Emerson Jane, and they were sort of, you could almost argue working as a more cohesive unit at times, and Trent was just in there and he was getting battered, but you had some awesome moments in this match. Like, it's some amazing spots. Trent Seven, I still think should be a contender for Wrestler of the Year because he is putting on bangers up and down the country pretty much every single weekend, and he did the same here because some of the work in this match, particularly from Trent Seven, was just amazing, and the way he was working with Emerson Jane and Rhio on some of the timings of stuff, like towards the end where Emerson Jane dives and he clocks her with a punch, it was just picture perfectly executed. And the stuff with Rhio as well, with the slaps, and then they're working together and they're both fighting each other, and then Trent turns and accidentally hits Clint. Like, the timing and everything was just impeccable in this match, and it was awesome to watch. You had this really cool bit in the middle where Rio's leg's been worked over and Trent hits a chop right into the knee and then hits a DDT. Then you got a double submission spot where Trent is locked in a leg lock on Rhio and Emerson Jane is in the sharpshooter from Clint. It was a really cool, like, takeover-esque kind of work rate in there. I was like, this is it. This is tag team wrestling. This is the bomb. You had Rhio being a badass and just giving the middle finger to Trent Seven while she's on the ground. It was so awesome. And then when you got towards the closing sequence, it was just like breakneck pace stuff because you had, like I said, Trent going for the 7-star lariat, hitting the 7-star lariat for a near fall, and then a Birminghammer plus a rolling elbow from Clint manages to pick up the win from Emerson Jane. And you had package pile drivers in there as well from Rhio. You just had moves everywhere. But like I said, this was awesome. This was a absolutely banging tag team match. One of my favourite tag team matches of the year. I was a massive fan of this, and I want to see more from Clint and Trent and Emerson and Rhio, but it doesn't look like we're going to get that because as Trent and Clint make their way to the back, Rhio just jumps Emerson Jane, turns heel, big old heel turn, clocks her in the back of the head, starts wailing on her. Clint and Trent come back down and sort of run off Rhio. Awesome heel turn because I didn't expect it. I genuinely didn't expect it, and I think I would make the argument that Rhio is best as a heel. I like her as a babyface, but I think she's awesome as a heel. I think Emerson Jane is so damn likeable that this could be one of the best feuds for North of the Year. If they execute this right and it ends with a awesome match, this could be genuinely one of the best feuds of the year. So I'm really, really excited for that. And then, all in the same segment, we got a video package from none other than Scotty 2 Hotty, and I want to make sure I get his son's name right because my notes are playing up. It was from Megan Garland, Scotty Too Hotty and Megan Garland, they cut a promo saying that at the end of September, they want to face Trent and Clint. What a match that I never thought I'd see. I'm here for that. That sounds awesome. Just give it to me. This match, angle, everything, absolute home run. Next up, we got the Ultra Violence Championship match as Big Lou Nixon took on none other than Henry Faust. Henry Faust came to the ring with a bin, a big steel trash can, throws it in the ring, and I thought this was interesting. This was a nice, interesting mix of styles. It didn't go particularly long, but you had the mix of the kicks and the sort of more martial art based offense of Henry Faust in there, going up against the more bruiser, hardcore expert that is Lou Nixon. I thought that played really, really well, and you had moments in there where they were trying to match each other. Henry Faust sets a chair down, wants Lou Nixon to hit him. You had Lou Nixon sit down and they just trade blows, opposite each other on these chairs. That was really, really badass. You had then Henry Faust going with these kicks and just wailing on Lou Nixon with kicks, but it was the hardcore element that seemingly got the better of Henry Faust because he doesn't play in that sandbox too much. Lou Nixon just got a staple gun, stapled his legs, locked in a sleeper and made him pass out. I thought it was a pretty badass finish and made Lou Nixon look really, really cool and really, really dominant. And I don't think that Henry Faust necessarily loses anything here because it's not really his element. He's not really a hardcore wrestler. He's been presented as like a fighter, He's been presented as a wrestler, a wrestler's wrestler. So yeah, I was a big fan of this. I'm intrigued to see where the character progression goes for Henry Faust here because, like I said, I think he's future North Championship champion material, 100%. I think he will be champion very, very soon. So yeah, interesting, very fun match. Not the hardest of the hardcore match, but I think it was an effective story and an unexpected element of character work in there as well. And then for the North Wrestling World Championship, we had Gene Munny defending against Spike Trivet. My little heart just doubled in size when I saw Spike Trivet. For anyone who does not know, Spike Trivet is one of, if not my favourite wrestler of all time. I have such a personal connection to Spike Trivet because his run as Progress World Champion is basically what got me into professional wrestling and into independent wrestling. He's my Progress Champion. He will always be my Progress World Champion, and his run there is just all-time great for me. His feud with Cara Noir, I think, is picture perfect, and he is, awesome. And he showed in this match why he's awesome, because this was a banger. This was an absolute banger. When you have the two contrasting styles of the more comical Gene Munny going against Spike Trivet, it is just magic. And it was magic because Gene Munny sort of dropped the facade. He dropped the goofiness. There was no sort of blowing raspberries or anything like that. This was just a brutal, brutal match and a really strong first outing for Gene Munny as champion. Spike immediately jumps Gene Munny before the bell. He hits a shotgun dropkick to his back, and then they're just brawling around the ring. Gene's chest is just red from chops that he's taken, and Spike was hitting these brutal running chops to Gene Munny in the corner. It was really hard hitting, and Spike is massive. He's a massive guy now compared to sort of his progress when he's put on a lot of muscle, and he just looks awesome. He looks awesome, and when he's in there with Gene, and Gene is firing up, saying he's going to hit Ainsley, I felt this is pro wrestling. This is everything I love about pro wrestling. A really dastardly bad guy against a really likeable babyface. This was everything I wanted. You got a great sequence which ended with Gene Munny hitting a big slingshot spear for a great near fall. You had a cactus elbow to some chairs on the outside as well after they brawled on the bar, a cannonball off a bar. Sorry, I'm doing this all out of order, but it's just it was a wild match. And then they're in the ring, and you have some great moments where you think Spike might get the win. He hits the big underhook neck breaker, which is awesome, like a version of sort of the Madame Guillotine, which I think is, obviously played a big part in his character with the Cara Noir feud. So that was a really, really good spot. And then you had some low blows in there as well. You had Gene Munny doing rapid fire low blows on Spike, and then he goes for his diving headbutt while Spike's in the corner, but then Spike catches him in a code breaker. It was awesome. And it led to an amazing finish as well. As Spike goes to the top rope, looks like he's going to hit a diving code breaker on Gene Munny, but Gene catches him, hits a massive sit-out powerbomb, and then an Ainsley Lariat for a 1-2-3. Awesome match. Absolutely awesome, dynamic, hard-hitting main event. Exactly what you want from an independent wrestling main event. I loved it. This is genuine. I'm torn between this and the tag because they were both awesome, but I'm going to lean towards this as being my match of the night currently, but it's a toss-up. They were both absolutely sensational. And then when you think it's over, Spike's gone out of the ring, Miles Kamen comes in and tries to jump Gene Munny, but Gene kicks the chair out of his hand. Then they have a stare down, seemingly setting up a World Championship match between Miles Kamen and Gene Munny for the September show. I'm here for that. We'll probably get some Kemper involvement as well. I'm shocked it's not a triple threat, to be honest. Maybe the triple threat's coming down the line. But yeah, I thought it was a great way to end the show. And I had an absolute blast. With the show. I feel like I say that at the end of every North Wrestling show review. But this one, it had the surprises that I didn't get spoiled. Like Spike Trivet being the big one. And Nathan Kroos as well. There are some really awesome surprises here. And overall, I'd give this like 4.5. I think it's one of the stronger North shows of the year. Really awesome main event, really awesome tag match, built on some great stories, really nice retirement moment as well. Yeah, everything you could want in pro wrestling was on this show. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Have you seen the show? Were you there live? Let me know. I'll try to apply to every single one of them. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.